guys, it's Kira and welcome back to another vlog. I hope your day is going absolutely spectacularly and I certainly hope it is going better than mine. On the whole, I can't complain too much aside from the fact that right here in the right side of my jaw, my wisdom tooth has decided that this week is the perfect week to make my life hell, and that is exactly what it has been doing. I think I have one of those wisdom teeth where I have like a normal tooth at the back of my jaw, and the wisdom tooth is growing like sideways into it, and sometimes it's fine, but periodically I have these flare-ups where the whole of the jaw around those teeth just aches non-stop, and it feels like I've just been punched in the face repeatedly for 3 days straight, which is I'm gonna say not ideal. It definitely could be worse, it definitely could be, but at the same time it's not ideal to just have this constant throbbing, aching pain in the side of my face, and so I'm feeling a little bit sorry for myself, but I'm also using this pain as a bit of an excuse to make this weekend the first fully festive weekend. Now, in my books, Jay's birthday, which is at the beginning of November, is the final thing that happens before Christmas celebrations start, and so the inevitable Christmas celebrations were coming one week or the next, but the fact that I'm in pain this week and feeling like I'm in need of a little bit of cheering up just made this week the perfect week to kickstart the festivities. And let me tell you, there is so much festivity to come over the next few weeks, but I'm just so excited to kickstart it this week. It also felt like a perfect week because the Christmas markets in York have just opened up. I think last night they opened up on Thursday evening, all of the festive lights got switched on, and it just feels like the world is making this week the start of Christmas. So who am I to stand in the way of festivity? And in fact, let's just embrace it. So I have a bit of a sore face right now. It feels as though my face is swollen, although it doesn't look like it currently, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it stays looking normal, although it feels horrible. But aside from my sore face, I'm very excited for a super festive weekend and to bring you along with me for Christmas markets. Maybe I can convince Jay to watch a Christmas film this weekend, and just generally embracing festivity. I'm also super excited to say that with Christmas in mind, this week's video has been very kindly sponsored by Louisa, and if you are looking to start your Christmas shopping, then listen up, because Louisa, as many of you guys know, is a jewellery brand that I absolutely love, and I wear their jewellery all of the time. Specifically, I wear a pair of earrings and 2 necklaces all of the time because I just love these pieces so much, and I now feel like they are kind of a part of me, and I genuinely never take them off. I wear these pieces 24/7, literally all of the time. I wear them at home, I wear them in the shower, in the pool, at the gym, on runs, you name it, I wear them there, and they are so high quality that despite putting them through all of that chlorine, shower water, rain, wind and all that jazz, they still look as good as new. And that for me is the thing that really makes Louisa stand out, because not only do you know you're picking up a really beautiful piece of jewellery, but it's a high quality one that is built and made to last, which I think is really important and also really aligns with their sustainability policies and the fact that they are a company that really values being environmentally friendly. So you can treat yourself to a piece of jewellery that you know is going to last, doesn't have a negative impact on the environment, and is just absolutely gorgeous. So whether you're looking to treat yourself as you go into the festive season, maybe pick up some earrings or a necklace that is perfect for a Christmas night out, or whether you are looking to start getting ahead on Christmas shopping for other people, I would say that Louisa is the perfect place to shop. I also feel like Louisa is the perfect place to go if you're wanting to expand your style horizons. Gradually over the last few months, I have expanded my collection of jewellery, and now I'm starting to try out things that I wouldn't normally wear. So while my earrings and my necklaces are kind of a second skin to me now, I recently decided to treat myself to a couple of rings from Louisa, which I think really complement the necklace that I wear because they are all the same gorgeous colour of green, and they also go with the jumper that I'm wearing today. But I just feel like the jewellery is affordable, beautiful, high quality, and it's just so great to be able to try out new pieces that might enhance your style or offer new things to try out. And I for one just think jewellery is such a fun way to play around with style in a way that's subtle but also can be very impactful. So I for one love Louisa, and if you are wanting to treat yourself or start Christmas shopping early this year, then you can use my code KiraFoster20 to get 20% off on Louisa's website by clicking the link in the description box down below. So there we have it. It is a festive, slightly painful start to the weekend, but the festivity is where we are going to focus our attention. And I don't know if it's just me that feels like this is something Christmassy to do, but Jay and I went to do our food shop yesterday and we also picked up a new duvet set for our bed. It's not an expressly festive one, it's actually like a pale blue kind of colour, but it is like a soft brushed cotton tartan kind of quilt set, so I feel like it just has like a really homely, cozy vibe. So it's currently my lunch break right now from the workday and I'm going to try and change the bedding. I say try because the cat often finds himself sleeping on the bed, and although I'm desperate to change the bedding, I'm not so mean as to evict the cat from his sleeping position. So I'm gonna go check if the bed is free. If it is, I'm gonna change the bedding because I just feel like fresh pyjamas and fresh bedding just feels festive to me. I don't know why, but it just does. So that is the first thing on the agenda for this weekend, changing the bedding, and then when Jay gets home from work later, we're going out to the Christmas markets to go and see York all beautiful and Christmassy and festive. So welcome to the weekend. Well, if I wasn't hungry beforehand, I definitely am now, because putting on new bedding is like a bloody workout. It is such an effort, but worth it once it's done. But yeah, I'm absolutely wiped. That took up like 20 minutes of my lunch break, but got myself a cup of tea, so it's not all bad. In fact, it's never bad when you have a cup of tea. But I am absolutely starving, which leads me very nicely onto the question of what on earth I should try to eat, because I can kind of, obviously I'm talking, so I can open my jaw, but when I'm chewing, it just feels as though this side of my face is like completely swollen, so I'm kind of limited as to how much chew work I can do. For breakfast, I had like ready brek, which is like the smoothest porridge you could possibly have, and it was lovely, but I don't really feel like eating that for lunch as well, because I also had ready brek for dinner last night, so I kind of feel like having something different. Now, what would be ideal would be soup, and I have had that for the last few days for lunch, but I'm actually all out of soup. I need to make a new batch, but I don't have time to do that right now. So I'm kind of wondering, like, if I make some really lightly toasted toast and just have vegan butter on it, maybe a bit of jam or something, I feel like that could maybe be like slightly mushable and chewable by just one side of my face. So, of course, like anything in life, there is obviously only one way to find out, and that is to do it. So, I'm going to try and make myself some soft toast, which kind of sounds like a bit of a like juxtaposition there, but I'm going to try and make some soft toast, have that with my cup of tea, and then when I finish work later on, aside from obviously going to the Christmas market with Jay, I also need to decide what I want to read this weekend. I'm like between two minds as to whether I start a festive read now, because although I feel very festive and excited to get into Christmas, I also feel like I quite like to save festive books for Christmas, so maybe I'll try and find something else to read, but I need to decide what book to read, and so I'll let you know what I decide later on. But for now, time to try and mush my way through some soft toast, so wish me luck.
Coming, I can feel it. The breeze brings goosebumps to my skin.
tell in the clips from last night, but when we went to the Christmas markets yesterday evening, it was a dry evening, which was something of a rarity recently, because we then went and walked by the river on the way home, and I'm not sure if it was obvious or not, but the river is so high and is flooding up in some bits, like it's completely like to the edges of like where there would normally be path on one side. The path is gone and it's just extra river. And this morning we've woken up to yet more rain, so I don't know if we're going to have a white Christmas this year, but we're certainly going to have a wet one by all accounts, because it's still like, it's cold like compared to how hot it was in summer, but it isn't cold compared to how cold you'd normally be in November and in the lead up to Christmas. Like, it's really not that bad at all. It's quite mild, so it's quite warm, which also doesn't really bode well for a white Christmas. And then also just the amount of rain we've had lately, I feel like it's going to be a very wet Christmas, but probably not a white one. But to be fair, I don't think we've had a proper white Christmas in quite a long time now. But anyhow, I do remember on the first day of Vlogmas last year, it had snowed a little bit, not loads, but it was like very frosty and cold. So never say never, I guess. Anything could happen, but right now it is very rainy, which bodes well for my cozy weekend, because it is just like the perfect kind of weather for sitting inside and trying to get on with some reading. And on that topic, I did start a book yesterday afternoon after I finished work while I was waiting for Jay to get home, and I picked up this book, Saltwater by Jessica Andrews, which has been on my shelves for quite a while now. And the reason I picked it up is that I was hoping for something that was maybe a little bit Sally Rooney-esque, and also something that was like quite short and snappy and easy to get through. So the blurb of this book just felt like it was going to fit into that category for me. So it says, Lucy's transition from working class Sunderland to a London university is more overwhelming than she ever expected. As she works long shifts to make ends meet and navigates chaotic parties in East London, warehouses and Kensington mansions, she feels like an outsider among her fellow students. When things come to a head, Lucy takes off for Ireland, piecing together family stories and trying to gain a sense of who she really is. So I've only just really started it. I'm on page 19 and the book has 298 pages altogether, so I'm very much at the beginning of the book. But what I've read so far, and I'll kind of show you, is very like short and snappy and almost a bit poetic. So the chapters are literally like, you know, a couple of paragraphs each. Some of them are like just literally one paragraph, and then others are a little bit longer, sort of going over a couple of pages. But it feels very stream of consciousness from the perspective of this main character Lucy, kind of just giving like fragments and anecdotes of memories and starting to like piece things together about her story and her family. And it doesn't feel very prosy, and there's not necessarily like a narrative line to follow yet, like there's not much of a plot going on. However, I'm so close to the beginning that I'm sure that there will be like a plot that kind of uncovers itself. But I'm not mad about it, to be honest, because it is like so short and so snappy, and the chapters are so digestible, and it is quite different to most other books that I sort of would read, at least ones that I've read recently. I'm sure I've read books like this before that have, because the writing style feels familiar somehow, like in the way that it's written, and the very short chapters and the slightly more like poetic approach to writing prose. But it isn't something that I've read something like this recently, so it feels quite fresh, and I'm excited to see what happens. So Jay has gone out to the gym this morning, and I am at home, so I'm going to do a little bit of reading while I wait for him to come home, grab some breakfast, and then try and come up with a plan for the day. have two very important things to tell you. The first one is that TikTok now has a sorting hat filter for cats. So naturally, at the first possible opportunity, I put the sorting hat on Oscar and he is put in Gryffindor. Oscar, let's find out what house you're in.
Gryffindor!
Oh, you're so brave. Wow. So, I feel like Oscar to me is a bit like a Neville Longbottom. Before we got Oscar, he was a street cat, so obviously there's a definite sense of bravery there, but at times he can be like very timid and shy, but I feel like he's brave when it counts, so I'm willing to accept that. But as soon as we go to Jay's parents' house next, I really want to try it on their two cats. They have a cat called Jeremy, who is, in my opinion, the biggest scaredy cat in the whole world. Like, she is the definition of scaredy cat. That is Jeremy, and I think she will probably be a Hufflepuff. And then Nunez, the other cat, official name Lily Penny, but for some reason nickname Nunez, I think she's got to be a Slytherin, although she's very, very clever, so potentially a Ravenclaw. So want to try that out, and I also want to try it on our neighbour's cat Baxter, who is like Oscar's arch nemesis. He's a lovely, lovely cat, but Oscar and him do not get on, so I feel like he could also be, I feel like Slytherin, because he's got like a cunning energy about him when it comes to how he approaches territories with all of the other cats on the street. In terms of his behaviour to humans, he's very friendly, but yeah, he definitely has Slytherin energy. So if you have a cat, or any other animal I guess it might work on, but if you have a cat, I would urge you to go onto TikTok and try out the sorting hat filter, because it's just so much fun. So that is of course the most important update I could have for you. The other update is that I'm now pretty much halfway into reading Saltwater, and my thoughts on this book are so jumbled because I'm enjoying it a lot. I find it really interesting, and because of how short the chapters are, I feel like it's very, very digestible and really easy to fly through. However, the fact that it is written in such a stream of consciousness kind of way, and there's very little organisation in the way that the plot is told, in that we are jumping like constantly from past to present, but without very much like clarity about what that is actually adding to the plot, if that makes sense. It can be a little bit harder, I don't want to say harder to follow, because we're not necessarily following like a coherent plot, but I do feel like it is a lot harder to connect with the characters because you feel very distanced from them. So I'm finding it interesting, but when I'm sort of reflecting on the book as I go through and thinking about like my ratings and like how I feel about the book, because I'm always kind of just wondering like, what am I going to rate this book, where is it going to stand in my rankings, I feel like it's going to be like a solid mid 3 stars, because it is an interesting book, there's no doubt about that, but it's also not something that I probably envision myself like going back and rereading, just because for me characters are the absolute most important part of a book. Plot is obviously great, but I think if you connect to characters, that is what pulls you back to a book over and over again for rereads, and whereas I just don't feel like this is that kind of book, but that doesn't mean it's a bad book, it's just a bit different to what I'd normally pick up. But I'm going to try and do some more reading of this, hopefully even finish it today if I can. It is now Sunday. Saturday absolutely flew by because we spent the entire day out shopping with Jay's mum and one of his sisters. We went to a load of like antique shops. Jay's sister Heidi is really into like vintage clothes, and she's got a very, very cool sense of style. So we ended up doing loads of shopping, which was fun, and then had the most difficult time ever trying to find somewhere to get some food and drink for lunch, because York at Christmas time is just like an absolute, I don't even know how to describe it. It is just like a complete, like every like area of space is just full of people. It is just so hectic, so packed. I spent about, I'd say at least half an hour in the queue just to get a drink for a Cafe Nero to take away. So it was a bit hectic, but that took up most of our day. We did, however, manage to watch one Christmas film, as you saw yesterday, on Netflix, which was called Return to Christmas Creek. Now, this was my first Hallmark movie of the year, and I just love Hallmark Christmas movies because they're so cheesy, they are so predictable, they are so bad in terms of like the plot is really weak, but there is something about them that's so appealing. So that was my first one, and I actually really liked it. I would definitely recommend it. It's always about an executive or someone who's like a really powerful like business person getting pulled back down to earth and like returning back to the Christmas spirit. So we have this character called Amelia, who happened to be born in this town called Christmas Creek, but then her and her family moved away to San Francisco when she was 13, and she hasn't been back since because of a family feud with like her dad and her uncle who still lives in Christmas Creek, and she is now like an app developer trying to make an app about Christmas, but she's only focusing on the commercial side of Christmas. And there's this exec that's like, no, this isn't in the spirit of Christmas, you need to connect back to what Christmas really means. So she goes back to Christmas Creek and manages to, like, I guess, fall back in love with Christmas and mend some family ties. So I felt like it was a very nice feel-good film, and I definitely recommend it. But I'm trying to find as many like cheesy Christmas films as I possibly can. We kind of split our Christmas films into two categories: the ones that you actually watch and love and would return to every year. So Jay's favourite is Jingle All the Way, my favourite is probably Love Actually, and we've got like obviously a few others like Elf, The Grinch, Home Alone, those kinds of ones that are just Christmas classics. And then you have your Hallmark movies that you can just put on in the background and they just add an extra burst of festivity to your day. And I feel like that is what Return to Christmas Creek was for me. It was just so nice, and it really was a lovely film. So that was our Saturday. It pretty much just disappeared in the blink of an eye. But now that it is Sunday, we're going over to meet my stepdad, my sister and my mum, I think, although she is kind of waiting at home for her internet to get installed because she's just moved house. So she is a tentative guest and everyone else is definite, but hopefully we'll be seeing her, my stepdad and my sister at the coffee shop. We're going to Cafe Nero to get a coffee this morning, and I'm desperate to try another one of their festive drinks. I'm trying to get my way around all of the festive drinks this year. So far I've actually only had one festive drink, which was the Cafe Nero cinnamon swirl latte. I had that a few weeks ago for Jay's birthday. This weekend I've just had like plain hot chocolates, but today I've seen that Cafe Nero have a Black Forest mocha, and as long as I can make that vegan, then I'm going to try that one today because I think it sounds absolutely delicious. Then we're going to my brother's house to watch the final F1 race of the season, and there are so many drivers leaving after this race. My absolute favourite, Daniel Ricciardo, is leaving, hopefully only for 1 year because I really want him back on the grid after this. But we also have Sebastian Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Latifi, they're all leaving. So I feel like it seems like quite a like monumentous end of the season. So we're going to go and watch that, but I am also going to bring salt water with me in case there is any downtime to do some reading in between all of our other activities. And then when we get back, I'm sure we'll be trying to find something else fun to watch. We are going to be starting is 1899, which is a new season on Netflix by the creators of the show Dark, and that looks very good. So maybe we'll start that this evening. Not very festive, but I'm sure it will be incredible. So there we have it. Try the cat TikTok filter for the sorting hat if you have a cat, and if not, have a wonderful day, and I will catch up with you in a little bit. Just got back from a lunchtime run, so please do excuse my extreme tomato face, and also the fact that like 10 minutes after getting home I'm still a little bit out of breath. But I love going for lunchtime runs. It's something that I just feel like is such a nice way to separate out the day. When obviously you work from home, you can be sat at the same place all day long, and even like when it comes to lunchtime, I'll come downstairs and make my lunch but take it back to eat at my desk while I watch something or maybe do a little bit of reading. But essentially I spend my whole sort of day from 8 AM to 4 PM kind of in one location. So getting out for just like a short 20-minute run is really nice because it means I still have enough time to eat something when I get back on my lunch break. But it's just broken up the day a little bit. I have to admit that I've not been doing it very much lately, but this week I'm trying to like kickstart myself back into a good running routine. And the main reason I haven't been doing it is because it's been so dark and so cold. Now it's still cold at lunchtime, but I feel like the lunchtime runs are a way to bypass the darkness that is around before and after work now. But yeah, really love it. And I do have to say that I really like my job, which is always a good thing. But the thing that I like about it most, and this is a surprising thing because when I started this job, it was a thing I was most concerned about, and that is that I work 5 days. So at my last job, a lot of you will know, I only worked 4 days and I had Fridays off, but I worked 34 hours across 4 days, whereas at this job, it's a full-time 5-day-a-week job where I work 35 hours across 5 days. So when you put that into perspective, I was working so much longer days at my last job, which was nice because it meant that you got the extra day off of the weekend, but I feel like it wears you down a lot working for so many hours, especially working from home. Whereas this job, I work every day and I feel like I have such a nice routine where I can go to the gym or for a swim in the morning, come home, have some breakfast, start work, have time for a nice lunch break, and then I finish work at a reasonable time in the evening. So all that to say, I was so worried about doing 5 days a week, and yet it's actually been a blessing in disguise because my hours just work a lot better, I think, with my lifestyle. So there we go. Been for a lunchtime run and I've gone on a right ramble about it. But the reason I'm catching up with you right now is for a few reasons. Firstly, I thought it would be nice to do a little tea taste test because it's been a while, but the reason I also want to do this tea taste test is because I want to talk to you about my plans for Vlogmas, of which tea taste testing is always a key part. So today we are going to be trying Duvet Day, of course, by Bird and Blend, my favourite tea company, and this one is a white tea with blissful coconut, jasmine blossom and cinnamon. It's a Duvet Day and that sounds really nice. I feel like cinnamon and coconut are two flavours that don't often get put together, but separately I love both flavours, so I'm excited to kind of see what that's like. So I've boiled the kettle, I've preloaded myself a little tea bag with the, oh I think I just spilled some of it on myself, preloaded the tea bag with the loose leaf tea, and I thought that I would pop that in a mug to brew for a few minutes while I chat to you about my plans for Vlogmas. So, where are we? It is 1:10, so this should be left for, I think 3 to 5 minutes. So, perfect amount of time to chit chat about Vlogmas. So, obviously, December, my favourite time of the year. I just think December is the most wonderful, and I have for the past few weeks been rewatching other creators who I love their Vlogmas videos and just getting into the festive spirit. But essentially I'm going to try and do what I did last year with Vlogmas, which is that I vlog every single day but a new video goes up every 2 days. So each Vlogmas video contains like 2 days together, just because with working full time I probably don't have enough time to edit a full video every single night, and B, don't do enough interesting things on the work days to make like a whole vlog for each and every day in December. So the first video will include a little bit of Vlogmas and Christmassy prep from this coming weekend, and then the first day of Vlogmas of course will be the 1st of December, so that video should go up on the evening of the 1st of December, and then you'll get a video every second day from then until just after Christmas, where the final video will of course feature Christmas Day itself, aka the best day of the year. Well, actually that's debatable. I would maybe lean towards Christmas Eve being my best day of the year because I just love it so much, but you get the picture. There'll be a video every 2 days and lots of festive content. I asked for some suggestions for Vlogmas content ideas and what you guys would actually like to see, because as much as possible I would love for you to obviously enjoy the videos. And so of course my tea advent calendar from Bird and Blend will be a key feature, but I saw some really fun suggestions. One was from someone who suggested that I use each day's tea flavour to recommend a book, and I thought that sounded like so much fun. Another bookish suggestion, that did not come out right, another bookish suggestion was to do like a bit of a book advent calendar where I like write down all of the titles of books that I'm wanting to read before the end of the year and put them in like a cup or a hat or whatever it may be, and then like pull them out so that I have a bit of a lucky dip for what books I read in December, and I thought that sounded really fun as well. And I'm also going to be scrambling as hard as I possibly can to get my Goodreads goal met this year, which is no mean feat because my Goodreads goal is 75 books and I'm currently sitting at around 40. So I would need to do a lot of reading in December, but maybe having that little like lucky dip challenge and surprising myself with which books I'm going to be reading might be a fun way to like get myself to it. So there we go. And of course there'll be lots of baking, Christmas shopping, Christmas markets, Christmas taste tests, Christmas, and I cannot wait. But those videos are essentially my Vlogmas plans, and I'm just really excited about it because it's such a fun time of year and I really love making those videos, and just like being able to not commemorate, that sounds very like morbid, but like I guess encapsulate my favourite time of year and like have it in video to look back on. I just think it's really lovely. So there we go, Vlogmas is coming, and it will actually be the first Vlogmas video will be the next video that you see after this one. So I hope you're excited, or at least like anywhere near as excited as I am. Then you're definitely excited. I would also love to know if you watch any other festive creators who you'd love me to like check out, or if you like have anyone that you'd recommend. My go-to is obviously Zoe Sugg. I just think she is the queen of Vlogmas and I just love her videos. But a couple of other people that I've been watching recently, Megan Grubb and I think it's Gemma Miles. I love both of their videos in general for like cozy content, but they've both been talking about Vlogmas, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to watch theirs as well. And of course, if you have any recommendations, hit me up, because there is no such thing as too much Christmas. Now, before we get into the tea taste test, I also wanted to let you know that I finished up reading Saltwater. I got very close last night and then managed to squeeze in the last few pages before work this morning. And I just don't know what to say about this book, to be honest. It was interesting, but forgettable is how I would describe it, and that comes down to just like how fragmented it is. Like if I show you a couple of the chapters towards the end, like this is one chapter, like that is a chapter, and then like, you know, chapter, like it's so fragmented, and I just couldn't put my finger on how to describe how that made me feel. But on the back I noticed that there is a quote which says, "Andrews writes about life as we experience it in memory," and I think that's absolutely correct. It is fragmented. There are little snippets here and there, and that is what memories feel like, where you just kind of have these like bursts of nostalgia or just like commemoration and all of those kinds of things as you kind of like look back and reflect on your life. But no one else's memories feel the same to you as your own do, and I think that's the issue I have with this book, is that it's written so well in terms of encapsulating that sensation of experiencing memory and experiencing a fragmented reflection on life, and yet because it's someone else's life you feel extra distance from it, because I feel like you are at once like within your memories and also distance from them, because it's a part of you that's like no longer present. And so when you look back on your own memories, it's with like an element of distance to your own experiences. But then when that's someone else's memories, and if you weren't involved in those experiences, there's like an extra barrier of distance between you and what the person is trying to convey to you. And so I feel like there is just such a sense of fragmentation and distance in this, that it is like someone else recounting all of their memories, but their memories that you had no experiences in, so you just feel like so much distance that you can't really connect to them, if that makes any sense. And I just feel like it's written in such a poetic way, in the actual style of writing, as well as like the words used and everything, but specifically like the style of writing feels more like poetry than prose, and I feel like that again just kind of like adds an extra barrier between you and the book, and it just feels as though you can't get in and connect with the characters in the same way that you would in most novels. I don't know if that makes any sense, and it's not that I wouldn't recommend this book, but like I say, I just think it's so distant from you as a reader that it's very forgettable when you finish it, and you just don't really, I don't feel like I've taken anything specific that will stay with me from this novel. But finished it, and of course on the subject of trying to get through my Goodreads goal, it's another one ticked off the list, so I can't complain about that. But yeah, it wasn't quite the experience I was hoping for, is what I would say, and I think I have rambled for more than long enough to now give this tea a taste test. So I just think any sort of tea with cinnamon in just immediately smells like a warm hug in a mug, and I just feel like that's what this tea is giving me. Cinnamon is definitely the dominant flavour, but I did just get like a very floral vibe with my second sniff there, and I think that's probably from the jasmine flower. So here's hoping it's not too hot. Cheers to the first tea test of many to come over the next few weeks. interesting. I feel like that's a weaker flavour than I was expecting from the smell of that tea, and it is actually more floral in flavour than the smell would lead you on to believe, because like I said, the cinnamon is very dominant in the smell, but actually in the taste it's not that cinnamony. It is just kind of like a jasmine tea, or like maybe chamomile-y, because it feels like quite cosy. The coconut is disappointingly not coming through that much, to be honest. I don't dislike this tea, but I was excited for like a punch of cinnamon and a punch of coconut, and I feel like those flavours, which are typically quite strong flavours, are not actually that strong in this. But don't get me wrong, it's like a very tasty tea and I will enjoy the rest of this mug, but it's just not quite what I was expecting. I don't know if that's like how I would describe this mug, like as duvet day. I feel like I would have wanted like more spicy, warming flavours for that title in particular, but either way, it's a lovely cup of tea and I'll never turn my nose up at a good cup of tea. So there we have it. I have rambled on at you for a very long time, so if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to give you one final reminder as we approach the end of November and get fully into festive season, that you can click the link in the description box down below to go and check out Anna Louisa and use my code KiraFoster20 if you're wanting to use that discount code to get 20% off and treat yourself or any of your loved ones to a little bit of jewellery in the festive season. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time for Vlogmas!